Hello and good evening. Welcome to FANIT, Family Enablers and Improving Talent. I'm your host, Arvis Lawson. Today, we have a very special guest. We have our champion, our Olympic gold medalist, BRIANNA McNeil. She's been through a lot. She's done a lot for our country. She showed up and showed out for our country. She showed up and showed out for the young ladies that come from her neighborhood. She has given them hope. She's literally become basically an advocate for those without the voice. And we're happy. Hey, Brianna,
Hi.
how you doing today?
I'm all right, under the circumstances. As my grandma would say, all is well.
Oh, this, I know that's right.
Uh,
That's that great saying right there.
yes.
So, Brianna, I want you to do me a favor. I
Mhm.
want you to give me a bit of a background before we really dive into everything. I want you to give the audience um, a background on exactly who you are and where you come from.
Hey, I'm Brianna McNeil. Previously, Rollins got married in 2017. I'm from Miami, Florida. I went to Miami Northwestern. Won some state championships there, of course. I went to Clemson, 3 times NCAA champion, NCAA record holder in both indoor outdoor hurdles. I am world champion in the 100 hurdles and Olympic champion in the 100 hurdles, as well as a silver medalist indoors world championship.
Well, that's so all these are all your accolades, and that's impressive. Where exactly did you grow up at?
Oh, I grew up not too far from like the West. I guess they would call it like the Robin Hood area. That's
Okay,
what they
all
call
right.
it.
Yeah, I grew. That's funny. I was born over there.
Yeah, so I grew up mainly over there, and I lived in Liberty City for like a couple years when my mother moved close to the West. But mainly I reside in Robin Hood. I guess they call it
Nice.
Robin.
That's, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But so you come from an inner city area where it's extremely
Hmm.
rough.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm.
you go back to your accolades. Coming from where we come from, uh, it's just like we don't make it out half majority of the time, men or women.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you're a young black lady that actually gave other young black women hope. So we win state championships at Miami Northwestern. We go to Clemson. Like, what was that transition like? Like, how did you lock focus in on your Olympic journey? What was that like?
Well, I can start from the beginning back at the West.
Please.
Um, I when I joined the track team, I had no idea what I was doing. Like I had no clue what anything was. No events, no nothing. I just came out there and I wanted to run track.
Take time out. Let's take a break. Let me cut you off. So you didn't run track as a kid?
No, I didn't.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's impressive. But carry on. I'm about like to hear that. We're gonna dive a little deeper, but you never ran track as a kid. No Northwest Express, none of that.
No, I didn't.
So how that work? Like, how does that work?
I think it was just God's plan, like
Okay.
honestly. But yeah, I joined the team, and then one day I was watching Lizzie. I'm pretty sure everybody know who Lizzie is back in Miami.
Definitely.
Um, I was watching her hurdle, and I was like, "That is so cool! Like, I want to do that too." And Miss Carmen, she liked to turn everybody to a hurdler, so I'm pretty sure she was excited when I asked to be a hurdler. And from there, I was a hurdler, but my main event was the 300 hurdles.
Okay.
I didn't really excel that well in the 100-meter hurdles until I got to college.
Okay.
And my coach, my college coach, who's still my coach now, Boogie Johnson, he recruited me to do the 400 hurdles. And it kind of didn't work out for me when I was there. I think because I kept getting hurt and my fitness level wasn't, I didn't get to the level of fitness that I wanted to be the best in those hurdles. So
Right.
I think that everything was just working out for me to just be a short hurdler. And I mean, it pretty much did. So, from that journey, it wasn't until 2012, my first Olympic trials, when I realized that I can be great. Like I didn't,
Okay.
I was just out here doing track because I could do it.
My friends, Liz, I see Lizzie doing it, so I want to do it.
Yeah, so I'll just do it, and not even realizing the opportunities that I was given to me, the blessings that I was given. And then it was that year when I realized that I could be good, and after that, I took it serious. Like I started taking it really serious, and the next year, that's when I had my breakout year. I was undefeated, broke the NCAA record, won my first world championship. And from there on, I just was so very tunnel vision. And I had some bumps in the road throughout my professional career where I got complacent and, I didn't, yeah, pretty much.
You're human.
And, I didn't realize how much more I had to work as a professional.
Gotcha.
I kind of was sliding by in college a little bit. And then when I turned pro, I was like, okay, I can't do those certain things that I did in college as a pro. Because every time you step on the line as a professional, you have to be ready to race, like ready to run fast and ready if you want to win, at least.
Because you're going against the greatest in the world.
Yeah. So after a couple years being pro and realizing what I needed to do, I was able to finally transition as a professional, and I won the Olympics in 2016. So from there on, it's just again, human mistakes, up and downs, where I had a lot of struggles.
We all have them. If a person, the funniest thing is about if a person tell you they're perfect, I'll show you a liar.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure. Can't be out here casting stones.
Agreed.
But anyways, yeah. So
so we had 2016. We just went out the Olympics. So now you're the gold medalist. Right now we're speaking with a representative of our country.
Yes.
You're ours.
Yes.
Okay, so now here we are. We got our medals. What's the transition like? Because now we got to go to the next level now because you have to defend that, right?
Yeah. So sitting here today, I felt like I was, starting to finally get to a place in my career where I knew what I was doing, where I was doing everything right, like getting my body right, my mind right. My training was all good. So I just felt like I was finally, getting to my potential.
Yeah.
And then I'm here now with this huge obstacle in my way that I feel kind of stuck. But
so when you say we running, because we're getting ready. 2016 Olympics every 4 years, which is 2020, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now that puts us in a position that we got to be prepared. Mm-hmm. Therefore, not only that, we're not ready for what's about to happen anyways, because now that's COVID year.
Yeah.
So now here you are getting yourself physically, mentally ready. 2020 January. What happens? How do we get here?
Okay, so this is where everything happens with my, my situation. So 2020 January, I could promise you I was probably in the most fittest, best shape of my life during that time. Everything was going so good, and then I find out I was pregnant.
Okay.
And then making the tough decision, trying to figure out, okay, do I want to be a parent right now? Do I continue to pursue my my Olympic dreams? Because if we go back to 2017, I wasn't able to capitalize on my Olympic medal like I was supposed to.
Okay. So when you say that, what do you mean?
So previously, I'm not sure if you know, I had a suspension before, which is the same case that Christian Coleman and a lot of other people are dealing with, which is also, I think, in my humble opinion, is another unfair situation.
Agreed.
So back in 2016, because people get this all confused as if I just purposely missed tests or I'm avoiding these doping control officers, when that's just completely not the case. And as an American track athlete, we get tested so much more than these other countries. People don't even know. But for the first missed test I had that year in 16, I was traveling to a track meet.
Okay.
The doping control officer, I'm pretty sure she saw there was a conflict in my schedule, and she still came when I was getting ready to. I was headed to the airport. I was at the airport, and she was at my house. So that's how I missed that test.
Okay.
The other two, I was after the Olympics. I'm on a high, traveling, going. I was in like 3 or 4 different cities. I went to meet the president. Then I went to Miami, and they did the thing at the high school at the West, like kind of sort of like a parade type thing.
Right.
When I had my other 2 missed tests when I was traveling, doing things like I was actually doing.
So I quit my question. Do you are they giving you a heads up that they're coming?
No, they don't care. They don't give you no heads up. So they
They're
don't.
not. So you're not giving a heads up that they're coming to see you. So you can't schedule anything. You can't be in place because again, which is weird to me, is that they know you're a world champion. They know you're a gold medalist. So you're going to be pulled every which way.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you're representing the country. The country is on a high. It's a lot to do in the United States.
Yes, and then after the Olympics, after track, honestly, for me, those whereabouts, that's what they call it. The whereabouts it's like it's unfortunately it's like not the thing I'm thinking about, especially when my season is over.
Right.
This is as a human, like I'm excited that I'm out. I'm done with track. This not right now, so I get to do things. I get to go do more things.
You got, and not only that, you got to take care of your livelihood because you win a gold medal. How much you make for this gold medal?
Well, the Olympics don't pay you.
Exactly. My point is, this is you making my point right now. So you're not getting paid, so you still have to survive.
Right. So I was doing all those appearances, and that's how those 2 missed tests happened. So it's not like, oh, I was avoiding.
Correct.
Purposely trying to, you know how they try to word it.
Yeah.
And how people make up these stories in their heads that fit their narratives.
Agreed.
So anyways, back to now, 2020, I made a tough decision to, have an abortion, which was really, really hard, honestly.
Question now: did this decision came between you and your husband? I'm presuming. I'm assuming this, right?
Yes.
So this is going on in your home.
Yes, in my home. In my home. This is our decision we made, and then so that weekend happened when I had the abortion, and that whole entire weekend I just was in bed, trying to recover from the procedure or whatever, mentally and physically drained. And the doping control officer came to my house on a Sunday morning at like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the doorbell. My husband didn't hear the doorbell. That's how I missed the test. I was home. If they was there, if I would have knew that they came to my door, I would have answered the door and took my test. I didn't avoid the test. And what people probably don't know, they came back to my house 3 days later and I got tested. I actually took that test.
Okay.
So I did get tested in the span of 3 days after that.
Okay.
So I was notified maybe like a few weeks after that I had the missed test, and I was confused because I'm like trying to stay on top of my testing, my whereabouts, because of the previous situation. I'm like, how did I miss a test? Like how did I do that? Then I realized it was that weekend.
Okay.
And then so me realizing that it was that weekend, I'm like, okay, that explains why I missed the test. So I'm debating on whether or not I wanted to tell them why I missed the test because it's so personal.
Agreed.
So I talked over with my agent and my lawyer, and I pretty much, got a doctor's note, and I kind of was very vague with it. I didn't specify exactly what it was. I just said, oh, I had an emergency procedure. We wrote a letter. I had an emergency procedure that happened on this date, and I was, heavily medicated. I couldn't physically or mentally get up during that time. That was why I missed the test. That wasn't enough. So they kept wanting more and more information. So what happened with me and how I get into this situation when I got the handwritten doctor's note, which I'm thinking people thinking I got medical records and I tamper with medical records, which is not the case. Right. It's just a little piece of paper you get from the front what do you call it? The
receptionist.
The receptionist, sorry. Yeah. And I ended up changing the date because I had the dates mixed up.
Okay.
So that's how we get into the situation where they say I tampered with doping, the doping control process or something like that, however they worded it. So from there, we go well in between that time, I'm going to go more deeper. I was still having complications with my body physically. Physically with my body, like I was having a lot of complications. Like the abortion didn't fully like the procedure didn't clear. Like they didn't.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I'm still dealing with that. Like, and I'm like going crazy in my mind. I'm like, did I mess up my body? Like, right. It would be days when I'm crying to my husband, like, I think I messed up my body. Like, I don't even, like, what if I can't have kids no more? Like, these are the thoughts in my head, like, I'm having, because I'm having these physical pains that I can't understand what's happening. So I ended up going to my own doctor to kind of figure out. I'm like, can you let me know what's going on? Because I don't feel right. Something's not right. And my doctor was like, oh, it's still some tissue left inside my cervix.
Okay.
She was like, I don't, you know, she doesn't do abortion. So she was like, you have to go back to the doctor to
so they finished the procedure.
Yes. So I went back to him and he's like, you're fine. Like, everything's okay. Like, nothing's wrong. And I'm like, but why I feel like this? So I have all of these things that I'm dealing with, like,
emotionally,
from January to April. This was happening from January to April. Had all of these things. And I explained that to the people in my hearing. Like, I you know, when I changed those dates, it was an honest mistake. I didn't.
We all make them.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't purposely trying to mislead you.
So I want to cut you off. Did you fail the test?
No.
So from my understanding, because I want the audience to understand something now. They're testing you for any performance enhancement, things of that nature, right? Drugs or anything of that nature, right? Mm-hmm. So you never failed the test, correct?
I never failed no test. I've been tested like 70 plus times. I have never failed a test ever.
Okay.
Never.
So now you never failed the test, and now in actuality, we're talking about a day.
Yeah, a day, 24 hours, literally 24 hours. It was the 10th, but I ended up putting the 11th, so it's a 24-hour difference.
Right, window.
Yes. So I'm like, the events happen. It does not take away from me. Like, this is what I explained to you. Like, I had this abortion, and it was the reason why I missed the test. That does not change anything. The only thing that they were hung up on was the 24-hour, the date change. That was it. They didn't even care that I even had the procedure or that I even missed the test at that point. They just were hung up on the dates being changed. And I'm like, what is y'all purpose at this point? Like, are y'all here to catch people that are doping, or are y'all here to just try to prove a point? Like, what is this? I don't get it. So I kept feeling personally attacked. And
who are you being judged by at this time?
The World Athletics.
Okay.
The AI.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, what I'm asking is, basically what I'm trying to say is, who are your overseers? Like, are we talking men, women, any, like,
everybody I've interacted with was a European man. It was it's nobody American, no nothing. It's all international. So
and you going through this by yourself?
Yes. I mean, my husband here is supporting me, but yeah, it's me going through all of this. And then and at that point, when they kept wanting more and more and more, I'm like, do they not believe me? Like, I think I'm making up this story. Like, I'm not lying. And that's how they ended up getting my medical records and seeing that the dates was wrong.
Okay.
When my lawyer got the medical records, which is, see, at that point, I should have just been like this. I should have drawn the line there. But in my mind, I'm just kind of like,
you trying to just get through it.
And I was already still dealing with all my other stuff with my physical body that was going on. And I was, again, mentally exhausted, and I was hurting because the Olympics did not happen. Like, at that time, I'm also processing the Olympics didn't happen, and now I'm like, I didn't even have to do this. So I was carrying a lot of guilt and a lot of shame, and it took so much of me, like forgiveness and grace, and like even seeing like a therapist, talking to her, just like trying not to be so down about it. And it also affected my marriage, like strained on my marriage a lot too. So I just was under a lot of stress. And when I kept trying to explain that to the AIU in my hearings, they kept downplaying it. They like, you was not that depressed. You was not that stressed out. You was on Twitter that weekend. So that it doesn't matter. Like, you're lying pretty much. And even when we had our doctor that she was talking about abortion stigma, they pretty much kind of downplayed that. Was like, oh, there's no such thing as abortion stigma.
So you're telling me that a bunch of men so a bunch of men that cannot produce a child are telling you exactly how you should feel after a woman's surgery.
Yes.
This is what's going on right now.
Yes, that was in the hearing. It was the first
Interesting.
hearing. I couldn't even control my emotions. Like I was like bawling, crying, like. And then I'm talking to them when they asking me questions, and they're not even looking at me. They're just communicating amongst each other. And I'm like, I say something to them. I'm like, you're not even listening to me. I'm like, you're not even trying to hear where I'm coming from. Like it's like I was just disgusted, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I was being treated in that whole situation, and to not receive any sort of compassion from them, it just was weird. But before all the hearing, that was this year. Before that, in August of 2020, they interviewed me and they asked me, they was pretty much trying to catch me in a lie. That's what they was trying to do.
So they bring the story back up. So we're going back through it basically. So we got to relive this all over again.
Yes, again, I have to keep reliving it. So August 2020, I had an interview. My lawyer was like, oh, asking me, did you look over your dates and stuff? He was like, something's wrong with the dates. And I was like, no, I didn't look over my record. So once I looked over it that week before the interview, and I was like, oh, I made a mistake. So I did the interview in August. And I told them, I was like, yes, I changed the date. Like, I'm not going to lie. I did. I thought my date was the 11th, but it was actually the 10th. It was an honest mistake. I was like, I was traumatized during that time. I didn't want to continuously pull up that day. I didn't want to continue to pull the memories from that day.
Agreed.
It was kind of a dark time for me during that time. And still right now, I'm emotionally trying to deal with, the guilt of having to make that decision when I didn't really have to make that decision. So this is August 2020. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe everything will be all right. They're going to just give me a missed test because it would have been my first missed test of the 12 months. And that's all. I would have been cool. I didn't have no violations or anything.
Yeah.
Could have just left it at that. Once they saw that I had the procedure done, I was thinking maybe they can have some type of compassion.
Agreed. Because now, because what I'm hearing here is now you're so hung up on a date, right? But you text me 3 days later, right? You fact check everything that I'm saying, that I actually went through this procedure. You have the paperwork. So what are we talking about? Like, how do we get here?
Apparently, I was for them, they think I was just misleading them, and pretty much, I don't know.
Ignorance is bliss. And when we talking about people that don't understand our culture or where we come from and what we would do to sacrifice to make our lives a whole lot better. Because again, this is a situation where you and your husband made this decision together. You know what I mean? For the betterment of your situation. Because we don't know about COVID. We thinking about.
We didn't.
Well, this is January, so we're not thinking about COVID. So in this process, we all make decisions to help better our lives.
Right. In that moment, it's the 2020. It's 2020 vision. Like we don't know what the future holds. So I'm just thinking, okay, I'm getting ready for the Olympics. This is where I am, and I think this is the best decision for us right now. That was the best decision. I know at one point they were saying like, oh, if I was so traumatized, I would have saw a clinical psychiatrist. Because the lady I was seeing, she was not like a clinical psychiatrist. She was kind of like a holistic, spiritual advisor type therapist. And I've seen clinical psychiatrists before, and personally, it's not the same.
Right.
It just, to me, it's not the same. I feel like we're more spiritual beings, so I felt like that helped me. It helped for me and how I needed to cope with whatever trauma or, in my second hearing, they ended up getting a clinical psychiatrist.
So they went and got somebody designated for you.
To discredit me and to tell me how I should have been thinking. He was trying to talk about our medical system and how first of all, the way y'all medical system work is not the same. Like you can't tell us, and that's what our doctor who we had representing, she was like, it might be different over there, but the way it works here is not the same. But anyways, he just was like, well, since you were suspended before, then you should have been, you should have made sure you were on your P's and Q's in every angle. And I'm like, yeah, he said that.
This is what he's saying. This is what came out of his mouth.
He said, yes, he said that. Yeah, it just was crazy to just feel like I was being attacked.
You were because number one, their beliefs and what they believe in is totally different from us.
And I'm gonna tell you this: before we were trying to get the hearing done before the Olympic trials. We wanted to expedite the hearing.
Right.
Well, the AIU was like, no, we're not going to expedite the hearing. We don't want to do that. So we ended up having to, I forgot what the language my lawyers use, but we had to write up like our briefing so that I can race at the trials. So we wrote ours, the AIU wrote theirs. And the AIU statement, they was like, oh, she's not going to make the team. So it's no point of her even racing anyways.
Are you serious?
Yes.
These are the people that's supposed to protect you.
No, these are the people that's against me.
Okay. These are people overseas.
Yes.
Okay.
They were like, she's not gonna make the Olympic team, so it's no need for her to race anyways. Pretty much.
Right.
I made the Olympic team. They think I was gonna make the Olympic team.
So what's this process like now? So you proving them wrong, we're still working towards something. Now, what's the mindset?
Well, right. I mean, after all of this, right now, like to this day, right now.
No. Like after we make the Olympic team.
Oh, I'm just being hopeful that I thought the hearing was gonna be in my favor. I'm like I'm thinking I'm gonna win this case. I really felt like I was. And 2 days later, I find out they upheld the sanction. And my thing is like, dang, like they didn't even think to give me even less time. I'm like,
right. Question. And during the process, are you being drug tested?
Yes. This whole year? Yes.
So now here we go, because we're here because of a date change.
Yep.
I'm still sticking to the script. I'm still moving forward. I'm still training. I'm still taking every test, right?
Mm-hmm.
No mishaps. Only mishap was a date change.
Yep. Doing my testing and everything. And the thing is, I didn't have to give them this information. And that's what I think I live with the most, that I be like, regret. I know you're not supposed to have any regrets. I'm like, if I would have just left it alone, just got
it. One thing about it, you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
You did. Listen to me. You did exactly what God wanted you to do. So to be here in this light and to watch you and still to see your bravery, and even in the midst of this moment, because you don't deserve any of this. There's been far worse situations, and yet this is an opportunity to slap you in the face. That's all this really is, to be quite frank. So what goes on after when they uphold it? Or what we getting? Well, okay, because we talking about a date. I made a mistake with the date. Give me a week, give me a week somewhere in a bad country or something. You know what I mean?
My point. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, okay, or just like 4 months. Like even people out here are testing positive for things and aren't even getting hit with these type of harsh sanctions. Like they wanted to give me 8.
8 what? No.
Years.
What did you? They wanted to give you 8 years for a date change.
Yes.
How?
They wanted to give me 8.
This makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, because here it is. You worked your tail off to get to this point. You've come through the trenches. I've never had a failed test whatsoever, and here we are. We have to stand with our women for the simple fact that there's no possible way that you or anybody else, for that matter, I don't care what race or creed, should receive a 5-year ban for not a missed test, not a failed test, but a date change that they did their homework on, their research on, and the facts out there. How? Like it makes no sense. I can't fathom that. So how do a person of your mindset deal with something such as this?
Honestly, God, like there's nothing else. Like this has been really hard. I don't think I've ever dealt with nothing this. Well, I lost my brother a month.
I'm sorry to hear. My condolences to you and your family for that.
Yes, thank you. So, in the midst of doing that, at the trials and everything, I lost my brother. So, and then this happens. It's just like 2 losses in one. So it's definitely hard. It's really, really hard. But, I just wake up in every day and I just try to count my blessings or whatever, and just, just keep just praying and just knowing that, you know, God is here, and at the end of the day, everything is working out for my good, and he still has a plan for me, you know, saying those things, and this too shall pass, and no weapon formed against me shall
Shall
prosper.
prosper. That's exactly right. God put you in this position because you're a strong young lady. Again, we have the hashtag Stand with Bree, and I think it needs to be more out there. It was going to be more out there for the simple fact that things can, you know, Shakaria's situation is unfortunate as well, especially due to the fact like they've been rules for the people that they want to bring rules for. Your defense, who's backing you? Where are the people when I need them? Because you carried that American flag on your back. You represent it for your country for free. So I'm out here doing all these things for free, and all I'm asking for is a little bit of
I got my
support.
sponsor Nike supporting me, what I can't
Shout
appreciate.
out to Nike, man. Nike, shout out to Nike for that.
They held me down this whole time, and you know, I definitely appreciate all of the sports support that they've been giving me.
Right now, we have a petition going around right now in this very moment. We need everyone to sign. We need everyone to sign because at some point, the president, you know, he liked what Shakari did. Well, guess what? He need to love what Bree did because in the midst of the storm, we need to bring more light and save our women from being ridiculed. There's not enough people that's behind you guys. But we're going to do everything in our power to get this story out there further. We're going to do everything in our power. You keep training. God gonna make a way for you. It's so unfortunate, but it's meant. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you have to bite the bullet, and that's what you're doing right now. You're the first of your kind. And for you to be as strong as you are, and your husband to be there, and Nike to be there to have the supporters that you have, I'm so proud of you. Like we on this side are proud of you. Don't you hold your head high for no regrets. The decisions that were made when it meant to happen. Don't you go around thinking that you did anything wrong. You did what you felt was best. You can't determine the future. So the walk that you're walking, keep walking it. We're gonna keep beating down these doors. We're gonna keep beating down these walls. We're gonna keep posting and sharing because the same way that we are for the fastest hundreds, the 100-meter sprinter, we're gonna be right there for you as well. We're gonna keep jumping over these hurdles day in and day out. So don't you give up hope.
Thanks.
These young ladies are looking for you. They looking up to you. Yeah. I'm so proud that you never shed a tear. That's how strong you are right now. You know what I mean? Because people gonna understand that what it takes to do something such as this. So I want to say to you, I want to say to your family, congratulations on fighting this fight. Don't you look at it as a loss. Stand with Brian. I'm sorry, Brian. I'm gonna get
fine. I do want to just also, you know,
please,
thank my coach, you know, just all the people, my friends, for just being here for me. They've been supporting me throughout this whole entire journey, every step of the way. So I just want to thank them, my training partners. They held me down throughout this whole time, and they still here. And I just thank them for that, and for y'all for just even putting this together. Tiki, Tiffany, all of y'all, I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all for this.
And we love you. We're gonna be here for you. We're gonna do everything in our power to get this story out there because you belong to us. You're ours. We have to take care of ours. I don't care if you stay in Texas. You're ours. You belong to us. And anything that belongs to us, we have to take care of. So again, thank you so much for being so brave and sharing your story. We're gonna get it done. But they're gonna feel us regardless.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being who you are.
For sure. Always.